Part 5. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 41. A week later, Rudolph waited for the party in the warehouse again. The mouse that entered the warehouse was very confused. It raised its front paws and scratched its face unconsciously. It saw a group of middle-aged women sitting together. Their sitting posture was like that of young girls, with their legs tightly together and leaning to one side. It's not that they can't sit like this, but this sitting posture is very inconsistent with their age and their body shape. There is no need to do this. Among the dozen middle-aged women, there is a lady wearing a white veil. Rudolph leaned against the outer wall of the warehouse and listened to the conversation inside. He found that the lady's voice was very nice. "Sisters of the Sisterhood, I'm glad you found your love again. When we were young, we always missed our best moments because of various accidents. As we get older, we can only recall the past. However, we are lucky. As long as we have Venus perfume, we can regain that wonderful time. Everyone must remember that after 12 o'clock, Venus perfume will expire. Please leave your male companion before 12 o'clock. After that, these women chattered and exchanged their experiences together. And the veiled woman listened quietly to the chats of others, and from time to time, she would give a few pointers. Rudolph saw someone who looked like Miss Beth among those middle-aged women. Her cheeks flushed and she was in high spirits. Soon, the sisterhood gathering ended. The veiled woman prepared a new bottle of Venus perfume for everyone. These women happily took the perfume. Of course, a little reward was deserved. Mouse saw that each woman handed the veiled woman a 5 silver shield note. It was really expensive. Rudolph was now the captain of the patrol, and he only had a salary of 3 silver shields a month. These women were really willing to spend a lot of money. Miss Beth left the warehouse, but she didn't know that there was someone following her. Yvonne followed carefully. Without Rudolph's pet crystal, Yvonne felt that tracking became a bit troublesome. There were fewer and fewer people in the warehouse, and gradually only the veiled woman was left. Just as the veiled woman was about to leave, she found that the back door of the warehouse was open. Rudolph walked into the warehouse in a patrol uniform. The veiled woman stopped and her body paused. She was very surprised by the person in front of her. "Mrs. Jessica." Hearing Rudolph's question, the veiled woman knew that she could no longer hide. She took off her veil, and it was indeed Mrs. Jessica. "Patrolman Rudolph, no wonder Claude said you are his most capable subordinate. I didn't expect you to find me in less than a month." "Thank you for the compliment, Sheriff. He is telling the truth, isn't he? So, Mr. Patrolman, who is as capable as he is handsome?" Mrs. Jessica stared at Rudolph. "What do you want to do?" Rudolph waved his hands hurriedly. "Mrs. Jessica, you misunderstood. I don't mean anything else. One of the women just now was Miss Beth. I just hope you can reject this client." "Why?" "Miss Beth's lover, Mr. Mayo, is going crazy because of Miss Beth, because of Miss Beth's Venus perfume. He went to the police station to report the case, and I had to intervene. I didn't expect that Patrolman Rudolph is still a policeman with a sense of justice. He is much better than Chief Claude in this respect. I can accept all your praises about me. But I feel guilty for praising my moral merits. It's nothing more than being a monk for a day and ringing the bell for a day." Mrs. Jessica walked forward slowly. As she walked, her figure surged, and the thin long skirt could not cover it at all. The gauze on her chest trembled with every step of Mrs. Jessica's steps. She leaned half of her shoulder towards Rudolph, her eyes teasing, "What if I don't agree?" Rudolph quickly dodged half of his body and avoided Mrs. Jessica. "Madam, Sheriff Claude is my boss. I admire you, just as I admire the sheriff's other lovers." A fragrant breeze came with Mrs. Jessica. Rudolph pinched his nose and showed his stuffy nose. "Look, I have blocked my nostrils. Am I smart?" Mrs. Jessica smiled, very charmingly, her red lips seemed to have some strange charm. What a smart young man. Rudolph didn't say much, and took out sunglasses from his arms. After wearing sunglasses, the erotic picture created by Mrs. Jessica also became pitch black. Rudolph got a piece of information that silver snakes can not only use smells, but pictures are also their weapons. Rudolph understood that Mrs. Jessica didn't want to have anything with Rudolph, but just wanted to control him. Of course, Madam Jessica, I'm not here to ruin your good fortune. Since I've caused you some losses, I can also give you a business suggestion. Oh? Tell me about it. Madam Jessica saw that Rudolph was so well prepared, so she gave up the unnecessary actions. Madam Jessica, I see that your customers just now are mostly middle-aged women who do physical work. They can't have much money. Why don't you target the wealthy ladies in the town? Middle-aged women who work hard, you see, people are always full of malice towards such women, as if they are not worthy of sweet feelings. Seeing that Rudolph was speechless, Jessica also knew that Rudolph was not the only one who thought this way. She continued. I've thought about what you said, but I'm new to Lehmantown and I'm not familiar with the town. I also don't know who would be a better candidate to be my client. I'm familiar with it, Rudolph said, I'll give you a list tomorrow. You can do your best. Mrs. Jessica suddenly asked. Why don't you agree with those people just now, but you agree with the rich lady? A patrol officer with a sense of justice. Rudolph didn't know how to answer. From their calloused hands, from their dry necks, from the broken silver shields they handed you, I feel that they are already suffering. That's why they need the nourishment of love even more. Rudolph shook his head. They do need the nourishment of love. I admit that I called them wrong, but deception is deception after all, and deception cannot nourish people for long. The pedantic warrior of justice. This is what Mrs. Jessica said about Rudolph. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 42. A few days later, when Rudolph went to see Sheriff Claude, he found that Sheriff Claude had black circles under his eyes. Oh my God, Sheriff, abstinence. I'll find you a mirror and look at your face. Rudolph found a mirror and placed it in front of the sheriff. The sergeant touched his darkened and sunken cheek, looking sad. Rudolph complained, it's true, Mrs. Jessica, can't water flow slowly and accumulate liquid into a river? There are so many things in the police station, and many things require the signature of the chief. How can the chief work in this state? It's not Mrs. Jessica's problem. The police chief didn't know where he got the oysters, so he ate them one bite at a time. No, it's Mrs. Jessica's problem. How should I put it, it's more complicated here. You know, Rudolph, that besides Madame Jessica I have had lovers. Recently, when I occasionally met those lovers, I discovered that they were wearing Venus perfume. Do you know Venus perfume? If you don't know, I will popularize it for you. It is a perfume made by Apostle Silver Snake that can create psychedelic perfumes for men. Once a man smells Venus perfume, a man will feel that the woman in front of him is as beautiful as a princess in a castle, and he will be crazy about investing everything in this woman, from emotions to body fluids. What's embarrassing now is... Sheriff Claude frantically rubbed the beard on his chin. What's embarrassing now is that my lovers used Venus perfume on me. Level 1 Venus perfume is useful to me, but not that useful. Now the problem is, I have to show that those perfumes are useful. Because I know that Mrs. Jessica made those Venus perfumes. Therefore, in the past few days, lovers have been coming to meet me by chance. Every time I meet someone by chance, I have to pretend to be taken down for a moment and then spend a tiring night. Rudolph, you know, acting is very tiring. Rudolph didn't know if acting was tiring, he just wondered, then can't you pretend that the perfume has no effect? Absolutely not. Doesn't that ruin Mrs. Jessica's brand? If I act unmoved, doesn't that prove that Mrs. Jessica's perfume is useless? Doesn't that prove that Mrs. Jessica is selling fake goods? Mrs. Jessica has just arrived in Lehman Town. At this time, she is not yet stable. I have to find a way to keep Mrs. Jessica in Lehman Town. Why? You don't understand, how rare it is to have such a mature woman. I will work hard for my enjoyment for the rest of my life. Rudolph picked up the document that the sheriff had just signed, standing so he could see out the window. Chief, if I'm not mistaken, Mrs. Vanny came to the police station to have a chance encounter with you. Damn it! Where can I hide now? Rudolph shrugged and left. The flood really washed away the temple of Poseidon. Why did this happen to the police chief? If the sheriff knew that it was Rudolph who gave Mrs. Jessica the list of rich ladies in Lehman Town, the sheriff wouldn't blame him, right? When Rodolfo came to the first floor and was about to give Kelita the documents, he found that Mr. Mayo was here again. Kelita raised her chin and pointed at Mr. Mayo. Rudolph, you are going to receive another police ticket. Rudolph was devastated. He had already received 6 police tickets this month because of Mr. Mayo. He walked over to Mr. Mayo and sat down. Mr. Mayo, I understand that there are other people in Lehman who have the same problem as you, but they are not so troubled by it. Mayo asked dejectedly, why? Because most of them regard it as an affair, a sexual dream, and an accidental favor from the goddess of love. When they wake up the next day, they will also reminisce about the charm of the previous day, but it is just that, and it will not affect them. Life. Then their relationship is not called love. Although I have not had a perfect love, I feel that love is not everything in life. Love is not everything in life, but Miss Beth is everything to me. You won, I can't say anything more. Rudolph gritted his teeth and said tentatively, what if the truth is cruel? What if Miss Bess doesn't really love you? How is it possible? Just like you said, yes, you have never experienced perfect love, and you don't understand the love between me and Miss Beth at all. Then why did she leave you? Rodolfo's question immediately poured cold water on the excited Mr. Mayo. After a moment, Mayo was full of fighting spirit again. So, I want to find Miss Beth. She must be in danger. Rudolph curled his lips and said, in the evening, come to the police station to find me in the evening. In the evening, Rudolph, Ivan, and Mayo headed in the same direction. Rodolfo took Mayo to a grocery store. Boss, look at your ledger. The grocery store owner hurriedly handed over the account book. Rudolph looked at the account book. This person came to sell something this morning. The grocery store owner looked at the name Rudolph pointed to and said, yeah, she came to sell a chair today. It's really strange. She always comes to sell furniture. I guess this is the last piece of furniture in her house. This is almost a complete set of furniture. Ivan then led the way, heading in one direction. Mayo asked in confusion, where is this? Why did you bring me here? This is the direction of the slums. The slums of Lehman Town are in the southwest corner of the town. I only heard from my temporary cleaner that she lives here. The leather worker's income is still very good, of course, his work is seriously delayed now, so his income has been very bad recently. Soon, the three came to a large area of low and crowded wooden houses and waited quietly in the distance. Mayo didn't understand, but he had to stay here with a puzzled look. Soon, a female worker in a wide skirt came out of a wooden house. Although she was fat and her dress was shabby, she was in high spirits. Bella? Isn't that the cleaner I hired before? I haven't seen her for half a year. Rudolph and the other two followed her from a distance. They saw Bella walking all the way to the center of the town, towards Mr. Mayo's house. Along the way, no one was surprised by this. Bella was just like all the cleaners who rushed to their employers' homes. Bella entered Mayo's house with familiarity. She obviously had the key to Mayo's house. My key. I only gave my key to Miss Beth. Why does Bella have my key? After Bella disappeared, Rodolfo took out 2 nose plugs. Go, Mr. Mayo, go see Miss Beth, whom you think about day and night. Mayo seemed to have a bad premonition. He raised his stiff arm and took the nose plugs. Looking at Mayo's zombie-like back, Rodolfo and Yvonne said, "Let's go up later." 10 minutes later, Rodolfo and Yvonne were ready to go up and complete his police order. After opening the door, Rodolfo was stunned. Mayo and Bella hugged each other in tears. Bella hugged Mayo's waist tightly, and Mayo held Bella's face and looked at Bella's appearance carefully. Rodolfo smelled it, and there was no perfume. "Bella. I figured it out. You are Beth. Beth is you." The 2 people with snotty noses kissed each other. Rudolph didn't know what to say, and finally said, "Oh, this damn love, isn't it salty?" He closed the door and left. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 43. The next day, Mr. Mayo came to the police station with Ms. Bella on his arm. "Mr. Patrolman. Thank you so much. I found my Miss Bella. Maybe this is true love." Mr. Mayo's shoulder width is only slightly larger than Miss Bella. In front of Miss Bella, he looks much smaller. Rodolfo handed Mayo the police slips, 7 in total, all of which required Mayo's signature. After signing, Mayo said, "Mr. Patrolman, this is a wallet I made for you. It is made of the best uncastrated bullhead skin. I hope you like it." Rudolph coughed, looked around to see if there was no one else, and put away the leather wallet. "In principle, I shouldn't accept your things, but fortunately, I am an unprincipled person." Both parties ended happily. Rudolph not only got 7 police tickets, but also got a new wallet. After seeing Mayo off, Rudolph walked to the sheriff's office. "Rudolph, you're here." "What's the matter, Sheriff?" "There is a report here. Go to Fabreau City and give it to the city police station." Sheriff Claude took out a thick report and handed it to Rudolph. Rudolph briefly read the report, which was about the werewolf riot. He accepted the task without hesitation. He also wanted to take a look elsewhere. It would be great if public funds were reimbursed. "Okay, I'll pack it up and go tomorrow." After nightfall, Rudolph left the police station. This time, he once again wore a mask with a purple scorpion on it. Casino owner Casino was startled when Rudolph entered the casino through the back door. "Messenger of the Wizard of Salem, I haven't heard from you for a long time. My teacher has been a little busy lately, so I can't get away either." Casino bowed his waist slightly and said to the purple scorpion masked man sitting on the chair, There is something I want to ask you to explain to me." "Say it." "I heard that there is an extremely active living corpse in the wilderness. He already has a huge team. May I ask, is that living zombie team belonging to the Salem Wizard?" "You ask too much." Hearing such a tough answer, Casino became even more frightened. This also confirmed his suspicion. Bloody Salem has gathered his forces in the wilderness, and the most obedient subordinates are undoubtedly the corpses of the apostles controlled by the power of living corpses. "Messenger of the Salem Wizard, do you need me to do anything for you this time?" "I'm going to the black market in Fabreau City. My teacher said I can come and ask you," Rudolph said in an unhurried voice. "Oh, by the way, my teacher has never forgotten you since he was resurrected." There was more cold sweat on Casino's head, and it was a dense patch. On the day when the Wizard of Salem was arrested, he was the first person to escape from Salem. He was really grateful to Salem for still remembering him at this time. "Understood. Understood." Envoy of the Salem Wizard, please wait a moment. After a while, Cashino came back with something. Cashino placed a chess piece on the arm of Rudolph's chair. Only a few centimeters high, it is a pawn in black and white chess. Under the black chess piece, there is an N carved on it. I'll give you an address. When you go there, hold this chess piece in your hand, and someone will take you to the black market. Rudolph nodded, accepted the chess piece, stood up and left. Cashino straightened up, and he finished it again. Hurry up, the Wizard of Salem, hurry up and regain some strength. As long as you endure it for a little longer, the tribunal will be able to hunt witches again. That night, Rudolph was in Ivan's room, putting wolfsbane potions into his suitcase. Using this time, Rudolph has made wolf saliva into wolfsbane potion. Selling wolf saliva is just selling raw materials, the value is too low, selling finished products is more profitable. Keep 10 tubes of wolfsbane potion for our own use. The extra 20 tubes will be sold for money. Ivan asked, can I go to Fabreau City? No, Lehman town is very small and there is not much danger, but Fabreau City is different. It is too dangerous for you to go. It's so ridiculous that a werewolf is wandering around the city of Fabreau, second only to a werewolf becoming a patrolman. Ivan knew that what Rodolfo said was true, so she could only stay in town. The next day, Rodolfo took the documents and his suitcase and headed for the city of Fabreau. It takes half a day to ride a horse from the town of Lehman to the city of Fabreau, so by the time Rudolph entered the city, it was already late in the afternoon. Standing on the hillside and looking at Fabreau City from a distance, Rudolph saw that Fabreau City's urban planning was extremely neat, and the city was divided into squares of similar sizes by roads. Within the grid are buildings of 4 to 6 stories. The building is beautiful, with white stone walls, orange-red pitched roofs, and numerous attic-pointed windows on the roof. Rudolph suddenly felt that he should bring Ivan. Ivan, a girl who lives in the countryside, must have never seen such a neat big city. Riding horses is not allowed in the city, and horse manure will stain the stone roads. Rudolph has to keep the horses in a horse farm in the suburbs. After entering the city, Rudolph first inquired about the location of the Fabreau City police station, and then settled around the police station. Until late at night, the wind chimes at the door of the hotel rang. Rudolph put on his hat and carried his suitcase and left the hotel. Leather shoes stepped on the stone road, making a very crisp sound. After hearing a bell, Rudolph stopped to make way for a tram. Watching the last bus go away, Rudolph sighed that the ability of the alchemist was much greater than he imagined, and there was even a tram. Rudolph used a flashlight and a light, and it seemed that having a tram was not too much, but the speed was a bit slower. It was a pity that Rudolph didn't have time to experience the tram here. He really wanted to take a ride. The chess piece that Cashino gave Rudolph was very wonderful. As long as you put the chess piece in the palm of your hand and input the star power, the chess piece will jump a small step in a certain direction, and that direction is the direction of the black market. After walking for a long time, you came to an ordinary street. There were no pedestrians here, only 2 children selling newspapers and an old lady who was staggering. Rudolph held the chess piece between his fingers. He walked slowly on the street, waiting for the person who would lead him to the black market. Rudolph occasionally glanced at the 2 newsboys, wondering when they would come. However, he didn't wait for the newsboys to greet him until he was almost out of the street. Very strange. Young man. Can't you walk slower? I've been chasing you for a whole street. Rudolph turned around and found that it was an old lady with a basket who was talking to him. Panting, the old lady swung the basket left and right in her hands. Young people nowadays, don't they have any observation skills? Sorry, I thought of many people, but I didn't expect it to be you. Rudolph felt that the old lady shook him for a while. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 44. The old lady's movements were too slow. She took 3 steps while Rudolph took 1 step forward. Enter this alley. The third door on the side is the black gold office, which is what you call the entrance to the black market. After the old lady pointed out the direction, she turned around and said, "Okay, the guide fee." Guide fee? Rudolph looked confused. There is also this. Xuanhuan didn't say anything. Maybe Xuanhuan didn't think that a student of Bloody Salem would not be able to pay the guide fee. Guide fee, 10 silver shields. Rudolph hesitated and finally said, "What if someone doesn't pay?" "Oh, that's unfortunate, I will kick his ass." The voice was so trembling, but it gave people a very tough feeling. This made Rudolph lose his toughness. What happens if someone doesn't go? Don't go? You know the location of the black gold office, and you still don't want to go? Why, do you want to go back to the police station to report the case? Don't tell me that you, a 1.8-meter tall guy, don't even have 10 silver shields on you. This is a bit embarrassing. Fortunately, Ivan gave Rudolph some money when he left. Otherwise, Rudolph would not only fail to go to the black market, but also be beaten to death by the old lady in front of him who was over 80 years old. Rudolph took out the new wallet that Mayo gave him and counted out 10 silver shields one by one. This heartbreaking feeling. The old lady opened the floral cloth covering the basket with satisfaction and put the silver shield in her basket. The moment the floral cloth was opened, the star map in Rudolph's mind reacted, and the star map captured a little leak star power. This old lady is not simple, and fortunately he was out and obedient. Through the long and narrow passage, Rudolph hurried inside. The city planning of Fabreau City is very neat, and the grid-shaped roads divide the blocks one by one. There is nothing special about the block where the black market is located, just some residential areas. Rudolph entered the door and walked for a long time in the winding dark corridor. When he reached the end of the dark corridor, he saw a half-open door. There was a pale yellow light in the door. Rudolph opened the door and walked into the black gold office. As soon as he entered the black gold office, Rudolph relaxed instantly. This place is very suitable for him, because there are no good people here. Some people wear masks like Rudolph, and don't want people to know their identities, which makes Rudolph look less strange. Some people show their true faces, obviously not caring about their identities being exposed. These men and women with exposed faces don't look good people. Rudolph carried a box and stood against the wall, observing the situation first. Some people in the black market knew each other and stood together to chat. Some people, like Rudolph, stood silently in the corner. A waiter walked through the crowd, serving wine to people. After Rudolph picked up a glass of wine, he found a piece of paper on the tray where the glass was placed. He looked around with his peripheral vision and found that someone was writing something on the tray from time to time. The waiter who brought the tray said, "Sir, if you have any needs, you can write on this paper. I will serve you all the way." Rudolph thought about it and wrote on the paper, 20 tubes of wolfsbane potion for sale. The waiter took the note away, and soon after, he came back to stand next to Rudolph. It seemed that it was really a 1-on-1 VIP service. After a while, the lights in the black market suddenly dimmed, leaving only a large spotlight in the center. The spotlight illuminated the area with a diameter of 2 meters below, and an old man stood in the light. "Welcome to the underground world between black and white. As long as you dare to sell, someone will take over the Viscount's relics. As long as you dare to buy, you can walk safely on the street outside." Then, the old man in a tuxedo began to preside over today's black market. White Horse B sells level 2 ulcers potion, and bids are now open. Hearing this introduction, Rudolph looked down at the chess pieces in his hand, as if the identity here was the chess pieces. He was holding the black soldier and taken from Xuanhuan. People kept shouting prices, and Rudolph realized that it was the waiters who were shouting prices on behalf of the participants. In the end, the Black Rook H took the tube of ulcers potion. From the name, Rudolph guessed that this was a potion that could keep people in bed for a long time, making life worse than death. Black Elephant F buys the life of Sheriff Zoputy, 600 gold shields, who is willing to take it. Rudolph was a little surprised, so direct, I don't know who Sheriff Zoputy is, and which police station he is from. Soon, the Black Queen took over the task. At the beginning, the transaction seemed to be between big flags. Even if Rudolph was willing, he didn't have the financial resources. Soon, it entered a parity transaction, at least the unit was no longer a gold shield. Judging from the number of transactions, the evil apostles in Fabreau City still had a strong demand. Soon, Rudolph heard about him. Black Soldier N sells 20 tubes of level 1 Wolfsbane potion. There is no price marked. Please start bidding. Rudolph was stunned and forgot to write the expected price. What if they bid too low? Rudolph will sell it or not. Wolfsbane potion is a very good healing potion, which is very useful for anyone, so there are many people bidding. Black Soldier X bid 300 silver shields and 120 tubes of Wolfsbane potion. Luckily, fortunately, Rudolph was very satisfied with the price, and even had a little premium. If you go to the Druid tribe to buy Wolfsbane potion, one tube will cost about 10 silver shields. Dark Horse B sells 3 star stones for 60 silver shields. Rudolph was very hesitant when he heard about the star stones. If he bought the star stones, would it let others know that he was a wizard? However, before he made a decision, he heard the offers from the Black Gold Institute. It seems that he was still too cautious. There were more than just Rudolph wizards here. If you dare, I dare too. He immediately put his chess piece on the waiter's plate, which meant that he also bid. What made him happy was that he finally got 3 star stones at a price of 90 silver shields. It seems that the other wizards are not very rich. Rudolph saw someone leaving, and he should have completed the transaction first. Rudolph told the waiter that he also wanted to complete the transaction first. The waiter led Rudolph in a direction. In a room on the side of the hall, there was a staff member sitting. Please take out the Wolfsbane potion. I will send the money to you after I pass the inspection. Rudolph put the suitcase on the table and opened it. In the suitcase, between the shredded paper and goose feathers, there were 20 tubes of Wolfsbane potion. The staff member took each tube of reagent in turn, and soon he said, "They are all qualified Wolfsbane potions, please wait." The staff member left, leaving Rudolph alone in the room. Only the table lamp on the table was on in the room. There were no windows, no ventilation, and it was a bit humid and stuffy, which made Rudolph feel a little uncomfortable. He picked up his pocket watch and observed the surrounding situation as usual. At this time, some figures appeared, making Rudolph frown. The staff member came back and brought a neatly stacked silver shield. "Sir, this is your money. 300 silver shields, minus 10% handling fee, you can get 270 silver shields. The platform is still shady. 10 silver shields for an admission ticket, and 10% handling fee for all transactions." Rudolph felt a little bit painful. The staff member also had a small leather bag in his hand. "This is the star stone you won, please check it." Rudolph opened the bag and found that it was indeed a star stone, so he put it away. After handing over 90 silver shields, Rudolph asked, "I will not participate in the next event, can I leave?" Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 45. Rudolph's question surprised the staff. "Of course, sir, it's your freedom, and a waiter will take you away." It was the same waiter who took Rudolph away. Following the waiter, Rudolph was a little anxious. He might be the first person to discover the accident. With his pet crystal, he had his own eyes all around. The police were approaching quickly, and the situation was very urgent. Rudolph couldn't help but say, "Can you hurry up?" The waiter heard this and sped up a little. This waiter really didn't know anything. At this time, he was still walking slowly, and your nest was about to be taken down by the police. Direction? Where is the exit? This road was different from the way he came in. Rudolph came in from the front door and seemed to go out from the back door. The waiter pointed to the front. "That's the exit. There is no more turning. Just follow the road and you will go out." Rudolph quickly passed the waiter in front of him and rushed to the end of the darkness. The waiter looked at Rudolph in confusion, thinking that this man was too impatient. At the end of this black corridor, there was also a door. Rudolph learned from his pet pocket watch that outside the door was the street along the block. Rudolph kicked the door open and rushed out quickly. In a flash, a sharp whistle sounded, and the Fabreau City Police Station raided the Black Gold office. At this time, there was no one on the road except for the trees. But Rudolph had vaguely heard the hurried and chaotic footsteps in the distance. An owl flew over Rudolph's head, and the encirclement had not yet closed. The owl took Rudolph to the gap in the encirclement. Rudolph quickly rushed into another block, and his figure disappeared in the gap between the two buildings. As he walked, Rudolph threw away his mask and tore off his cloak and threw it in the corner. At this time, he was wearing a patrol uniform, which made much more sense. A patrolman from another place who had just arrived in Fabreau City, enjoying the night view of Fabreau City, accidentally got lost. Isn't this reasonable? After breaking out of the encirclement, Rudolph was no longer so anxious. He saw a balcony on a building. He jumped hard, and with the blessing of the physical contract, he jumped directly to grab the bottom plate of the second-floor balcony. There were iron railings on the balconies. Like a clever ape, Rudolph climbed and rolled on the balconies one by one. Soon, he reached the top balcony. When the balcony was designed, in order to prevent bottles and other things from falling from the balcony, there would be a fence more than 10 centimeters high on the edge of the balcony. Rudolph used this low fence to lie on the ground and hide his figure. He opened his pocket watch and observed the situation around him. The first was that he didn't dare to run around, and the second was that Rudolph wanted to know the current situation. He liked to watch the excitement. In the past, when there were fights on the street, he could watch with relish for half an hour. From his pocket watch, Rudolph saw the raid on the Black Gold office tonight. The situation was very clear. Dozens of patrolmen from the police station, each holding a gun, surrounded the block where the Black Gold office was located. And a group of people wearing black windbreakers rushed into the Black Gold office first. Rudolph had seen those people in black windbreakers. They were people from the Judgment Bureau. In the prey operation against the Salem Wizard, the main force was these witch hunters from the Judgment Bureau. Not all the people in the police station are apostles. Most of the patrolmen are ordinary people holding alchemical guns. But the people in the Judgment Bureau are all powerful apostles. They only obey the orders of the Alchemical Council and are the most elite force of the Alchemical Council. Rudolph saw at least 12 teams, each with 2 people from the Judgment Bureau witch hunters, rushing into the Black Gold office from 2 directions. Witch hunters are a general term for the executive personnel of the Judgment Bureau. In fact, they will also be subdivided into witch hunters, witch testers, exorcists, plague removers, etc. They not only target wizards, but all heretic apostles are their enemies. However, among these enemies, wizards are the most notorious, so they are collectively referred to as witch hunters. In Lehmantown, when has Rudolph seen dozens of apostles fighting? This is really exciting. There was a muffled sound in the block, and the sound penetrated the wall. Rudolph, who was hundreds of meters away from the block, could hear it clearly. About 10 minutes later, someone stumbled out of the Black Gold office. This was the unlucky customer of the Black Gold office. They were greeted by more than a dozen shotguns. Under the dense bullets, those who escaped from the witch hunters in the chaos could not escape the dozens of shotguns outside, and they died without any pain. Just when Rudolph thought this was a perfect act of justice, there was a huge roar. A giant over 6 meters tall smashed a hole in the wall and rushed out of the block where the Black Gold office was located. There were also 2 witch hunters in the flying bricks and stones, and they also flew out backwards. Rudolph didn't know which side he was on at this time. Should he be happy for the giant? Or should he be worried about the witch hunter? The appearance of the giant suddenly broke the comparison of strength between the 2 sides. Ordinary damage to the giant is like a toothpick stabbing an elephant. Many people rushed out from the big hole left by the giant. The defense line, which was mainly composed of ordinary patrolmen with guns, was soon broken. Although the police station immediately blocked the hole, 8 or 9 people still rushed out. The moment they broke out of the encirclement, they quickly scattered. Rudolph even saw flying bats, which were the ability of the Apostle Blood Clan. The Blood Clan spread their wings and quickly flew into other blocks, hiding somewhere unknown. The scene instantly fell into chaos. The battle was still breaking out in the Black Gold office, but the battle outside the Black Gold office was equally fierce. Rudolph manipulated a mouse to enter the Black Gold office. There were collapsed walls and broken doors everywhere. The ground was full of rubble, which made the mouse move very slowly. In the small and dark space, several beams of light were constantly scanning. That was the witch hunter's flashlight. Where the beam stopped was where death was. The witch hunter would launch an attack and kill the unlucky person locked by the beam. The mouse was very slow, but in just a few minutes, Rudolph had seen no less than 20 corpses. There must be more corpses in other places. A piece of ceiling fell and killed Rudolph's mouse, which scared Rudolph. Rudolph began to concentrate on the battle outside. At this time, a man ran towards Rudolph's location. He seemed to have chosen the alley where Rudolph was hiding. Behind him, a team of patrolmen were running desperately, trying to catch up. Sheriff Zaputi. He ran into that alley. Chase. Rudolph suddenly heard a familiar name. Sheriff Zaputi? The Walking 600 Gold Shield. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 46. That night, many people were watching the excitement. A couple was awakened by the fight outside and was standing by the window, watching the fierce battle on the street in the distance. Gunshots were heard one after another, and there were tall giants. Dear, can giants only marry giants? Why? Oh, it's too big. Did you see it? The one that was thrown up. How can you not see it? The 2 of them didn't even dare to open the door and go to the balcony. Just as the 2 people were lamenting the poor security in Fabreau City, suddenly a person stood up from their balcony, frightening the couple to hug each other tightly and suddenly took a few steps back. When they saw that the person in front of them seemed to be wearing a patrol uniform, the fear just now was reduced a little. Rudolph stood on the railing and climbed up the eaves with his fingers. With his arms exerting force, he quickly disappeared from the balcony. The next moment, Rudolph began to run wildly on the sloping roof. And in the street below, 600 gold shields were walking, and the sheriff was leading people to chase the fugitives in front. Fortunately, Rudolph had a pet crystal. He was the first person to discover the situation and the first person to escape from the Black Gold office. Otherwise, he would be one of the fugitives who are running away with his face covered. If that were the case, it would be very embarrassing. A patrolman was chased by a group of patrolmen and could not reveal his identity. Rudolph ran a long distance on the roof. He felt that the walking 600 gold shields were chasing him a little too deep. Unknowingly, The walking 600 gold shields were already 10 minutes away from the block where the black market was located. If there was a black queen among the fugitives, that is, the person who accepted the bounty, if Rudolph was the black queen, then Rudolph would choose to take action at the turn of the next intersection. Sheriff Zoputy didn't know that he was so valuable now. He just thought he was chasing a fish that slipped through the net. When he turned a corner, he found that the person in front of him suddenly turned around. Rudolph was above them at this time, and he quickly jumped to the balcony on the top floor. Thanks to the architectural style here, most of the balconies are protruding, and there are iron railings on the balconies, which gives Rudolph room to dodge. Rudolph lay flat on the balcony, opened his pocket watch, and began to observe the battle below. At this time, mice are undoubtedly a better choice. 3 or 5 gray mice lie on different parts of the street to provide Rudolph with a view. The Black Queen is dressed in black and has a black beetle pattern on her face, which makes it impossible to distinguish her true appearance. People can only tell that she is a woman. The building where Rudolph is located has protruding columns on the facade, and the protruding part is just enough to accommodate a person. The Black Queen stood behind the column like that, and the patrolman's bullets just couldn't hit her. The patrolmen were shortening the distance. As long as the patrolmen approached the Black Queen, the saturation bullets would end the battle tonight. However, the Black Queen stood there, seemingly in no hurry at all. Rudolph was observing the situation, and suddenly, he was startled and his mouse was attacked. The mouse turned around and saw that several beetles had bitten off its tail, then its legs, then its abdomen and back. The mice then saw that countless black beetles had emerged from the sewers at some point, and the entire street was covered with thumb-sized beetles. The first patrolman cried out in pain, covering his ankle, not knowing what had happened there. When he looked at his legs, he found that his trouser legs were already densely packed with protruding, pupa-like insects. Something had gotten into his pants and was crawling up his trouser legs. Not good. The priest of the evil god's nest. Sheriff Zoputy recognized the means of the man in front of him. The apostle evil god, to be precise, is the priest of the evil god, who possesses some of the evil god's abilities. The Black Queen in front of them is the priest of the evil god's nest, who has the ability to control insects. All of Rudolph's mice died, so he had to control a black cat again and stood on a street lamp to see the situation on the street again. A patrolman in front of the street lamp was so pitiful that his face flushed and his hands covered his crotch. Rudolph could feel the piercing pain through the crystal of his pet. The patrolman slapped him frantically, trying to kill the bugs. A sound similar to a balloon bursting came from the air, as if some bugs were slapped to death. Others were not much better. Most of the patrolmen had fallen to the ground at this time, and their faces began to turn purple. It was obvious that the bugs were poisonous. Only Chief Zoputy was slightly better. He drew a circle around himself with some alchemical powder. The powder was burning and drove away the bugs around him. However, the powder would eventually burn out. Bugs that appeared from nowhere climbed up the wall, crossed the alchemical powder flame, and jumped towards Chief Zoputy. The bug bit Chief Zoputy's neck hard. The sheriff's gun can deal with criminals, but it is powerless against the bugs on the ground. Rudolph stood up suddenly, grabbed a few flower pots from the balcony, and threw them down hard, throwing them at the Black Queen. Then, Rudolph flipped out of the balcony and jumped down from the 5th floor balcony. Every time he fell down a floor, Rudolph would grab the balcony railing and use the railing to slow down. Justice from the sky. Rudolph was hanging outside the balcony on the 2nd floor. The justice from the sky that he had prepared was stuck in mid-air. His left hand was hanging on the railing, but the revolver in his right hand was not aimed at the queen. He raised his arm and aimed the gun at the alley opposite. Rudolph's move shocked Chief Zoputy and Queen. Chief Zoputy stared at the patrolman who suddenly appeared. He was sure that he had never seen this person in the city police station before. It was obviously very advantageous. It was obvious that this patrolman was the closest person to Queen. He was only 3 meters away from Queen. Queen was hiding from bullets behind a pillar, but Rudolph appeared behind her. As long as Rudolph shot Queen, Queen would definitely not be able to dodge. Queen also turned her head with shock. She was also unprepared for Rudolph's sudden appearance. However, Rudolph pointed his gun at the dark alley opposite. All the patrolmen fell down, and only 3 people were left on the street. For a moment, no one dared to move. At this time, in response to Rudolph's strange behavior, a sound finally came from the gap between the 2 houses opposite. Even the beetles were not moving. In the darkness, there was only one sound. It was the sound of very slow footsteps. A hunchbacked old lady walked out of the darkness and appeared on the street with a smile. It was the old lady who took 10 silver shields from Rudolph and said she would beat him if he didn't give her money. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 47. Queen Black, you shouldn't take things from Black Gold Institute. The rickety old lady spoke, and she was speaking to the Black Queen. The old lady's attitude was as if Rudolph and Sheriff Zoputy were nothing but air. Rudolph's left arm hung on the railing, it was sore and stiff, but he did not dare to make any unnecessary movements. For some reason, he doubted that even if he shot at the old lady, the bullet would not hit her. Not only did Rudolph not move, but neither did Sheriff Zoputy. Sheriff Zoputy took this opportunity to drink some kind of medicine on himself, allowing him to regain some mobility. He did not shoot rashly. It's good to be treated as air, at least you can't die for the time being. Mr. Guide, I just take my reward in advance. The Black Queen answered the rickety old lady's question. Rudolph looked at the old lady. It turned out that she was called the Guide. There is no such thing as taking remuneration in advance at the Black Gold Institute. It has never been the case. Remuneration can only be taken away after completing the transaction. And the old lady narrowed her eyes slightly. And you should keep the handling fee. In the distance, the battle at the Black Gold Institute continued fiercely. Nearby, some patrolmen who were lucky enough not to die on the spot were making faint moaning sounds. There is even the sound of chewing insects, which makes people's teeth ache. However, the 2 men, the Guide and the Black Queen, discussed the unfinished deal in the street. Dear Mr. Guide, there was some confusion just now. I admit that I overpaid the handling fee. This is my fault. I originally planned to wait for the Black Gold owner to get a new address after completing the transaction, and then return the handling fee. Now, I will return the handling fee to the Black Gold office. The Black Queen reached into her arms and took out an exquisite black leather women's handbag, and then took out a 50 gold shield and a 10 gold shield from the handbag. I have prepared the handling fee and can hand it over to the Black Gold Institute at any time. The Guide nodded, agreeing with the Black Queen's statement, and she raised her hand. Her arms were trembling, but she was so scared that Rudolph immediately used his strength and jumped back to the balcony, as if the hollow iron railings could give him a little sense of security. Star power. It's the star power that is changing. The existence of the star map made Rudolph feel the star power falling instantly in the starry sky at this time. The star power of the Guide was extremely huge for Rudolph, and could actually cover the entire street. A gust of breeze suddenly appeared next to Black Queen. The breeze blew up Black Queen's hair, and also blew up the 2 golden shields in Black Queen's hands. The banknotes with the golden royal shield coat of arms flew slowly across the street, swaying like snowflakes, and flew towards the Guide on the other side of the street. There was the sound of banknotes flying through the air on the street, and the golden shield fluttered into the hands of the Guide. The Guide opened the checkered cloth on the basket and put the golden shield into the basket. Don't do this next time, Black Queen. I have retired and just want to do some light work. Don't force me to make you into a witchcraft. I don't need a magic weapon like this. I understand, respected Libra Wizard, Black Gold Guide. Rudolph couldn't help but swallow. Wizard, Libra Wizard, Air Wizard. The person in front of me is a powerful wizard. The Black Queen was able to get the Queen chess piece, which proved that she was at least one of the top 4 bounty hunters in the Black Gold Institute. However, the Black Queen had such respect for the Libra Wizard in front of her. It seems that when he first met the guide, it was true that the guide said he wanted to beat his butt. Fortunately, Rudolph was obedient, otherwise he would have been beaten to death. The city of Fabreau was too dangerous and Rodolfo wanted to go home. The guide covered the place with a gingham cloth, just like those ordinary old ladies who go to the vegetable market to find change and put it into the basket. Okay, you guys go ahead, I'm done. The moment the guide turned around, Rudolph, Zaputi, and the Black Queen all moved at the same time. Rudolph leaned forward and fired. Sheriff Zaputi managed to sit upright and fired at the Black Queen. However, they all fought blindly because purple smoke suddenly erupted from the Black Queen. The purple mist looked poisonous at first sight. Rudolph didn't care about shooting anymore and hurriedly climbed to the balcony on the upper floor. After climbing to the upper balcony, Rudolph dared to stick his head out and continue shooting. The bullets shot into the black mist, and the shooting effect was completely invisible. When the purple mist disappeared, the Black Queen had already disappeared. Rudolph jumped off the balcony and found some blood stains on the ground. He and Chief Zaputi had just shot randomly, injuring the Black Queen. In addition to the pool of blood, there was also a sewer manhole cover that caught Rudolph's attention. Perhaps, the Black Queen escaped from the sewer. After there were no more useful clues, Rudolph came to Sheriff Zaputi. Sergeant Zaputi held the wound left by the bug on the back of his neck and asked with a weak breath, "This patrolman, who are you?" Patrol Rudolph of Lehmantown came to Fabreau City to deliver documents to Chief Claude. This was my first time in Fabreau City, and I got lost while shopping. When the fighting broke out, I happened to be nearby, so I came over to take a look and learn how my colleagues in the city police department handle emergencies. Chief Zaputi said he was a little embarrassed, there was nothing to learn from, and their handling of the situation was extremely poor. At the same time, he also lamented that his fate was so good. If it hadn't been for the field patrol officer, he would be dead by now. Rudolph also felt that there was nothing to learn. It was the same everywhere. The dead were ordinary patrolmen. How should I treat you? Hearing Rudolph's question, Sheriff Zaputi said, "Carry me to find other people in the police station. They will give me a tube of antidote." Rudolph nodded, but he went to see the fallen patrolman first. The Black Queen disappeared, and the bugs also went into the sewer. The result was so unfortunate that the patrolman died. Seeing Rudolph come back empty-handed, Sheriff Zaputi also knew that his subordinates were all dead. Rudolph carried Sheriff Zaputi on his back and walked towards the Black Gold Station where the battle was still going on. "Sheriff, was that woman the evil god?" To be precise, the Apostle Evil God refers to the priest of the evil god. The woman just now is a famous bounty hunter of black gold. She is a level 2 priest of the evil god's hive. Is the evil god the only one, or are there many kinds of evil gods? There are 5 known powerful evil gods, and the hive is one of them. But every few years, a new evil god will appear, but the new evil god is generally weaker and will disappear in a few years. Young man, didn't Claude teach you these? Sheriff, Lehmantown is already overwhelmed by dealing with werewolves, and I haven't seen the evil god priest in Lehmantown. Rudolph trotted all the way and soon found the people from the city police station. Coming to the big city really broadens your horizons, with Libra wizards and evil god priests. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 48. The doctor at the police station is treating Chief Zaputi. The battle is almost over, and Rudolph walks to the place where the seized items are placed. The neat arrangement of the seized items can increase the sense of achievement of the police station. This is a visible result and it is very morale boosting. There is a box of money, most of which are silver shields, and some gold shields. Guns and swords are also neatly placed on the ground. There are also bullets, which are arranged in several rows and occupy many floor tiles. Rudolph stands next to a box without moving. Isn't this the 20 tubes of Wolfsbane potion that Rudolph just sold? Who bought it? Black Soldier X. Rudolph only remembers a code name. The person holding the Black Soldier chess piece, the serial number is X. If nothing unexpected happens, that person should have an accident. A cough sounded behind him. Rudolph turned around and found that it was Chief Zoputy who came over. "Why, patrolman from Lehman, are these Wolfsbane potions more attractive than those silver shields?" Rudolph replied calmly, "There have been too many werewolf attacks recently, and we in Lehman need Wolfsbane potions." Sheriff Zoputy nodded, and he turned and said to a police officer, "Register these Wolfsbane potions, I will make the decision, and grant them to Patrolman Rudolph from Lehman as an overtime reward for Patrolman Rudolph." Patrolman Rudolph came to Fabro City and participated in our operation, and our city police department must also express our appreciation. Rudolph's eyebrows jumped. What does this mean? Was it sold for nothing? Did the Wolfsbane potion return to his hands? Rudolph remembered the 270 silver shields in his wallet, and it didn't seem to be sold for nothing. Oh, Rudolph thought of a more accurate word, whitewashed. After a while, a police officer closed the box and handed it to Rudolph. Rudolph felt that he had gained 270 silver shields for nothing. And the poor Black Soldier X lost his life, money, and the potion was returned to Rudolph. "Sheriff Zoputy, I am curious about what the Black Gold House looks like inside. Can I go in and take a look?" Sheriff Zoputy heard this and looked inside the Black Gold House. He found that the battle was over, so he issued a pass for Rudolph to enter the Black Gold House. The Black Gold House is now surrounded by a cordon, but this time, there is no need to pay a guide fee to enter the Black Gold House. The giant is dead. Even if he lies on the ground, his chest to his back is about 1 meter thick, and he is very big. Rudolph passed by the giant's body, but he didn't dare to collect the relics. If he found them, he would be beaten to death. He entered the Black Gold House through the hole left by the giant. This should have been an inn before. From a large staircase, you can go straight up to the second floor platform. The second floor platform is a yard, and then enter the inn from the second floor platform. The first floor of the inn is a utility room and basement on the surface, but it is actually used by Black Gold. After entering the Black Gold, Rudolph looked around the scene like an ordinary patrolman. The witch hunters' actions were very violent. They destroyed the load-bearing walls and columns of the house. After a few days, the inn above will find that there will be many cracks on their walls. The closer to the previous trading hall, the more corpses there are. Some people did not wear masks and died openly. Some people wore masks, but the masks had been taken off by the patrolman who handled the scene and put aside. Rudolph focused on observing the chess pieces in their hands. Unfortunately, he only saw the soldier chess, and those big flags, chariots, horses, elephants, queens, and kings, none of them were seen. Rudolph concluded this action, it was a huge move, and a group of small fish and shrimps were killed. Perhaps the only thing of some value is the level 2 giant outside. Rudolph used a mouse to observe the surroundings. After making sure that there was no situation, he secretly picked up a chess piece, the Black Soldier K. The Black Gold office was in a mess, so it was not too much to lose something. As for the possible loopholes, let the people in the city police station worry about it. Rudolph put away the chess piece of the Black Soldier K. He would return the chess piece he got from the casino owner, the Black Soldier N, to him, and keep the Black Soldier K for himself. Judging from the strength of the Guide Wizard and the Black Queen, the Black Gold Office is stronger than imagined. This attack will not destroy the Black Gold Office, and the Black Gold Office will reopen soon. Two witch hunters in black cloaks walked over in the distance. Rudolph turned around and squatted down, pretending to observe the corpse on the ground. His heartbeat quickened, but he couldn't help holding his breath. No one taught Rudolph how to deceive witch hunters and witch examiners, and Rudolph didn't know how they distinguished wizards. He was eager to have a chance to understand witch hunters. According to the information Rudolph got from Sheriff Claude, if they are not seen using their abilities, many apostles can hide in the crowd as ordinary people and are difficult to be discovered. Two witch hunters walked past Rudolph without any change in their pace, which made Rudolph feel relieved. He stood up and entered the trading hall from the corridor. There were fewer bodies here, and the people inside fled outside at the first time. Rudolph came to the room where his wolf poison potion had just been taken away, and found that there were no bodies of the staff he had seen. The waiter, the person who inspected the goods, and the host in a tuxedo were all gone. When Rudolph walked out of the Black Gold Office, he found that the Fabreau City Police Station was holding an impromptu on-site meeting. A police inspector who looked like a high-ranking official was speaking. Chief Deputy found out the traitors in the police station and the traitors who tipped off the Black Gold Office, so we were able to take the initiative. Tonight, we finally destroyed the Black Gold Office in Fabreau City, suppressed the arrogance of the heretic apostles, and killed more than 20 heretic apostles. Rudolph recalled what happened in the trading hall. The person who offered a high reward for Chief Deputy was Black Elephant F. Black Elephant F may have an unusual relationship with the Black Gold Office, or may have something to do with the traitor. Just as Rudolph was about to leave, Chief Deputy approached Rudolph. "Patrolman Rudolph, come to the police station tomorrow and I will help you with the affairs of your Lehmantown police station." "What did you say was the matter?" "Thank you so much. Sheriff Claude asked me to submit the investigation report on the werewolf riot. Several level 2 werewolves appeared in Lehmantown, and Sir Jacques died at the hands of a level 2 werewolf." "Oh, this is really serious. Come to me tomorrow." "Okay." Rudolph walked towards the hotel. He opened his pocket watch from time to time to make sure that no one was following him. The anti-tracking of the spirit pet crystal has never let Rudolph down. The door of the hotel opened, and the wind chimes rang again. Just like in the afternoon, Rudolph entered the hotel with a box. The front desk of the hotel did not find anything unusual. 3 more updates, please support. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 49. Although the city police station was very nervous because a big operation had just ended, Rudolph came to the Fabreau City police station with a relaxed mentality. Because he knew that he had connections in the city police station. If he wanted to do something, he could at least ask Chief Deputy. "We also have people above us." After asking Chief Deputy's office, Rudolph sat on the sofa in the office, waiting for Chief Deputy. The clock in the corner of the office kept ringing, and the time was passed again and again. Rudolph waited for a long time, but still didn't see Chief Deputy coming. He looked at the time and had been waiting from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock. He thought Chief Deputy would not come this morning. Just as Rudolph was about to leave, a female police officer rushed into the office in a hurry. The policewoman looked panicked. "Who are you? Who are you looking for?" "I am Rudolph, the patrolman of Lehmantown. Sheriff Deputy told me to come to him this morning." "Then you can go. The sheriff's office has been sealed." "Sealed? Why?" "The sheriff died. We just found out that the sheriff was killed in his own home." The policewoman looked sad and began to deal with the sheriff's office. Everything in the sheriff's office was physical evidence and needed to be carefully kept. Maybe there was important information about the sheriff in it. Rudolph sat on the sofa in shock and couldn't accept the news for a while. The person above us is gone? Sheriff Zoputy, who drank the wolf poison potion last night and was fine, and the sheriff who said he would handle the report for him last night, is gone today. Rudolph came to the service hall on the first floor and submitted the investigation report on the werewolf riot in Lehmantown in the hall according to normal procedures. The staff told him to come back and wait for news in 3 days. Standing at the door of the city police station, Rudolph was still a little dazed. How could such a good sheriff die so soon? In the evening, Rudolph attended the funeral of Sheriff Zoputy. Sheriff Zoputy's remains were well arranged, but Rudolph could still see traces of being eaten. Those temporary repairs of jelly could not completely erase the traces. Those were traces of being bitten by insects. The Black Queen, it was the Black Queen who killed the sheriff. However, Rudolph heard from the police station that the sheriff was killed without defense or resistance. It looked more like an acquaintance. What ability does the Black Queen have to be silent and disguised as an acquaintance to commit a crime? Lying on the bed in the hotel at night, Rudolph drove away the maid's door-to-door service twice. He was not in the mood now. He lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling. It was very dangerous here, and the sheriff could be killed. Late at night, Rudolph suddenly heard 2 thumps. He turned over and got up, taking the box out from under the bed. The sound came from the box. Rudolph opened the box and waited for a while. He found that 2 chess pieces jumped in a certain direction. The Black Gold Agency was summoning the chess piece holders, the bounty hunters and the big buyers. The chess piece moved again, and there was no movement. Rudolph input star power into his newly acquired Black Soldier K, and soon, the chess piece pointed out the direction again. The Black Gold Agency was so anxious that it started to call for new transactions on the night after Sheriff Zoputy died. Sheriff Zoputy found the insider of the Black Gold Agency, so he must die. Rudolph put away the Black Soldier K, locked the room from the inside, put on the mask, and left the room through the window after seeing that there was no one outside. As for Cautionneau's Black Soldier N, Rudolph was not going to use it again. He would just return it to Cautionneau when the time came. Rudolph was so unfamiliar with the city of Fabreau, but under the guidance of the chess piece, he had a clear goal. Soon, Rudolph came to a peaceful neighborhood, with street lamps on and dim lights. A cafe was the direction pointed by the chess piece. Rudolph turned into another neighborhood and observed the cafe with his pet crystal. A mouse entered the cafe, and one of the Scorpio witch words, infection, was activated. Soon, the parrot in the cafe became more spiritual and began to observe the people in the cafe. This was a very ordinary cafe with not many people. The parrot quickly locked on the target, a person sitting by the window. The guide of the Black Gold, the Libra wizard. In the underground world, those who dare to show their faces are ruthless people. Those who dare to show their faces and sit by the window prove that she is fearless. The guide sat there, her basket was placed on one side, and she stirred the coffee from time to time, occasionally taking a sip of coffee. Soon, Rudolph saw someone enter the cafe. Some people sat opposite the guide and handed the chess piece to the guide. After the chess piece was returned, the person left quickly. The owl tracked for 4 or 5 blocks, and the man disappeared in the distance, no longer worth tracking. There was no transaction tonight. It seemed that the Black Gold Institute was just dealing with the chess pieces. Rudolph's vision returned to the parrot in the cafe again. 4 or 5 people came in and left one after another, and there seemed to be no risk. Rudolph took off his mask, then raised the collar of his windbreaker to the highest, lowered his hat to the lowest, revealing only a pair of eyes, and walked towards the cafe. After entering the cafe, Rudolph sat opposite the guide like everyone else. Rudolph pushed the Black Soldier K towards the guide. After more than 10 seconds, the old lady who guided the way turned her head and retracted her sight from the window. After she reached out and touched the chess piece, she raised her eyebrows in surprise, like an old lady who had encountered something new, and her wrinkles stretched out a lot. "Oh! It's rare. Let me see what power drives the chess piece. I haven't seen such an apostle power for a long time. I really miss it." When the guide was playing with the chess piece, Rudolph guessed that the guide was using the chess piece to verify something. "Scorpio Wizard, don't stand up suddenly, the sound of the chair will be very harsh." Rudolph tensed his muscles and arched his body stiffly. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't stand or sit. The police station had also seized a lot of such chess pieces, but it was difficult for the police station to find the black gold office. If you want to use chess pieces to guide the direction, you must input the apostle power into it. It seems that the alchemist of the police station will be discovered by the guide if he uses the alchemical power to drive the chess piece. Perhaps the guide will destroy the chess piece as soon as possible, leaving the alchemist with no way to deal with it, and the seized chess pieces will also become useless chess pieces. Rudolph even speculated that these chess pieces might also be some kind of magic weapon or its accessories. Rudolph's ability was seen through, which was very troublesome. He couldn't easily show his ability and couldn't easily use the star power, otherwise someone would really see it. Perhaps the way to check the wizards was to find the traces of the star power and then find the wizards in the crowd. "Don't worry, young man, I'm past the age of collecting. Now I have little demand for magic weapons, so you don't need to be on guard against me. Okay, take the chess pieces away. Tonight we are just verifying who the traitor of the Black Gold Institute is. Anyone who doesn't respond to the chess piece holders, or inputs the power of the three apostles of the God's choice into the chess pieces, will be eliminated by us. You obviously have no problem, you are a wizard, so you are naturally one of us." Rudolph grasped a word, "We." Who are we? Is it a wizard? Or the Black Gold Institute? Or a bounty hunter? "Thank you for your kindness, Mr. Guide." Rudolph left the cafe, and his figure disappeared into the darkness. The parrot in the cafe has been watching the guide. To Rudolph's relief, the guide did not notice anything unusual about the parrot. It seems that the guide has not exceeded level 3, so she cannot find the spirit pet made of level 3 wizard crystal. Weird Star Witch. Author, White Silver Black Iron. Chapter 50. Just like Rudolph observing the cafe where the guide is, many people are paying attention to the Black Gold Institute. After Rudolph left the cafe, he was going back to the hotel. About 10 minutes later, he suddenly felt that the unique stench of the sewer suddenly became much stronger. It was as if years of mud beneath the sewage had been uncovered, and the stench couldn't be blocked by covering one's nose. Rudolph looked at the leaking grate in the sewer, and he thought of the beetles in the Black Queen that finally got into the sewer. Opening his pocket watch, Rudolph looked around for surprises. The spiritual pet crystal showed that a woman walked out of the guide's cafe. The woman didn't hesitate and walked in Rudolph's direction. Black Queen. The Black Queen also showed her face and had no intention of covering it up. He is so arrogant and a ruthless person. Rudolph said to himself that it was too bad. The time when he and the Black Queen went to meet the guide was too close, and he was targeted by the Black Queen. Just like Rudolph has a spiritual pet crystal, maybe the Black Queen also has some strange tracking methods. Pedestrians on the road covered their mouths and noses one after another. The smell was indeed a bit choking. The smell, probably the smell. In the sewers, there are Black Queen beetles, and they use their smell to guide the direction of the Black Queen. Rudolph could imagine that his surroundings were filled with the stench coming back from the sewers, and the Black Queen came looking for the smell. Thinking about it, Rudolph suddenly remembered the purple mist when the Black Queen escaped. Maybe Rudolph had some purple haze on him. Rudolph sniffed his arm. He could smell nothing. There were all kinds of complaints all around, and Rudolph suddenly heard a sentence that made him raise his eyebrows slightly. Oh my God! Did someone's toilet explode? Public sewer mains are usually laid under the road, so no matter which way Rudolph goes, he will encounter sewers. He looked up at the buildings on the street looking for what he wanted. Soon Rudolph found his target. There is a row of small windows in a 6-story building. Only on the outer wall of the bathroom are such small windows set up to protect privacy. The location of this row of small windows is the location of the toilet in this building. Coming under the corner, Rudolph found the drainage well of the toilet in this building. Little girl, buy a pack of matches. Okay. Sir. Rudolph bought a pack of matches from a little girl. After paying, Rudolph did not forget to remind. Little girl, don't sell matches here in the future. Find another place. Why, sir? Because this place is going to explode. Seeing that the little girl was unmoved, Rudolph took out another tip, a tip of 5 copper shields. Because I gave you a tip, you can sell matches somewhere else. This reason was even more touching, and the little girl left obediently. Rudolph came to the manhole cover, pretended to tie his shoes, and squatted down next to the manhole cover. He took out the matchbox, slid the match, and the match head burst into flames. The drainage pipes of toilets are full of excrement, and excrement is rich in organic matter, which will produce a large amount of biogas in a closed space. The match was drilled into the hole in the manhole cover. Rudolph quickly stood up and walked quickly away. 6 or 7 seconds later, a loud noise suddenly came from behind Rudolph. He looked back and saw that he had flown to a manhole cover 3 stories high. Who blew up the toilet? Who the hell is this? What flew up together with the manhole cover and the fully fermented organic matter in the sewer? A thin layer of feces was sprayed on the walls of the street, and the air was filled with a smelly yellow-green mist. At this moment, the smell of the street changed dramatically. Rudolph walked a few steps quickly and rushed towards an alley. There were a few wild dogs in the alley, rummaging for something next to the trash can. Rudolph randomly found 2 pieces of moldy bread, quenched the poison in the bread, and poisoned the 2 dogs. Rudolph quickly took off his windbreaker and tied it to the wild dog's belly. Under his windbreaker was a patrol uniform, the same police uniform he wore when he met the Dark Queen last night. After destroying the siren, Rudolph tied the police uniform to another wild dog. The poison is very weak and the 2 dogs will wake up soon. Then, Rudolph quickly walked to the end of the alley and came to another street from the other end of the alley. Owl has already seen that there is a bathing place on this street. Rudolph put 1 silver shield on the counter. Even in Fabreau City, consuming 1 silver shield at a time was something that made the receptionist of the bathhouse very excited. Get rid of my replacement clothes and prepare some clean clothes for me. Damn it, a cesspit exploded on that street just now. The receptionist also heard a distant thud, and she realized what had happened. This is truly a generous gentleman who loves cleanliness. Rudolph entered the bathhouse naked. Not long after, someone came and asked, "Sir, do you want a bath? Are you strong? Look at my arms, they are very strong. Then rub it hard. I'm not afraid of pain, but I'm afraid it won't be clean." The bather felt great while scrubbing. I haven't seen such a durable customer in a long time. Soon, someone sent a brand new set of clothes. Soon, a new-looking Rudolph left the bathhouse. 3 blocks away, the Black Queen was staring at a strange stray dog with a windbreaker tied to its body. And all of this was seen clearly by Rudolph, who had opened the map. I hope that the Black Queen just happened to find Rudolph, and then happened to follow Rudolph for a while, that's all. The next day when Rudolph went to the police station, he heard that 2 more people died in the police station last night. These 2 people should have been killed by the Black Gold Agency in revenge. Rudolph didn't know them and didn't go to their funeral. The Black Gold Agency actually fought back and forth with the police station. They are all ruthless people. Rudolph finally heard about his arrangements. He walked into an office, and a police chief said, "Patrolman Rudolph, the city police station is still discussing the support requested by your Lehman Town police station." Rudolph understood the sentence, which means it hasn't started yet. As for when to respond, he doesn't know. But there is something here that needs your help. Rudolph also understood the sentence. Not only will they not do things for you, but now the superior unit has a lot of things to do, and they need to temporarily transfer you. Someone will talk to you about the death of Sheriff Zoputy in a while. What this sentence means is, who made Sheriff Zoputy have an intersection with you before his death? Rudolph followed a police officer to an office. There was a long table in the office, and two people sat opposite the long table. Rudolph sat opposite them. When they spoke, Rudolph's heart trembled. He had just escaped from the tiger's mouth. How could he fall into the wolf's den again? "Hello, Patrolman Rudolph, we are witch hunters. We have something to ask you about the death of Sheriff Zoputy."